The idea hit me while staring at an empty tackle box and a handful of leftover pantry items one quiet afternoon. I had grown tired of spending money on expensive commercial baits that often failed to deliver results when it mattered most. Fish can be picky creatures, and their moods change with the weather, pressure, and water temperature. So I decided it was time to experiment with something truly simple and affordable. After trying dozens of combinations over several weeks, I finally landed on the perfect trio of everyday ingredients that consistently turn slow days into nonstop action. The first ingredient is a simple can of sweet corn straight from the shelf. Its natural sugars and familiar scent already attract many species, especially those that feed near the bottom. The second is a small packet of strawberry-flavored gelatin, which adds an intense, sweet, fruity aroma that spreads quickly through the water column, creating an irresistible trail. The third and final piece is a measure of plain instant oats, which provide the perfect binding texture and create a subtle cloudy effect once submerged. These three items cost almost nothing, yet, when mixed correctly, they produce a bait that fish simply cannot ignore. I remember the first time I tested the blend on a calm evening. The moment the balls hit the water, small ripples appeared, followed by sudden, aggressive movements beneath the surface. Within minutes, the rod tip began dancing wildly as one fish after another rushed in to investigate and devour the mixture. That single session convinced me this homemade recipe was something special, worth sharing with anyone who loves fishing but wants to keep things cheap and effective. The beauty lies in its simplicity. No fancy equipment or rare additives are required, just basic kitchen staples combined with a bit of creativity. From that day forward, I stopped buying overpriced jars and tubes, instead relying on this reliable mix that delivers results time after time, regardless of the target species. The excitement of watching fish go absolutely wild over something I prepared in minutes became addictive, and soon I was refining the proportions until the consistency felt just right every single batch. This discovery opened up a whole new approach to my time on the water, turning ordinary outings into memorable catches, filled with constant bites and thrilling fights. Preparing the mixture is straightforward and takes only a few minutes once you gather the three ingredients on a clean surface. Begin by opening the can of sweet corn and draining away most of the liquid, while leaving a small amount behind to maintain natural moisture that helps the flavors blend. Pour the kernels into a medium-sized bowl so there is plenty of room for stirring without spilling. Next, sprinkle the entire contents of the strawberry gelatin packet evenly over the corn, watching as the bright pink powder instantly begins to coat each piece and release its potent, sweet scent into the air. This fruity aroma is what travels far and fast once the bait enters the water, drawing curious fish from considerable distances. Finally, add roughly half to 3/4 of a cup of plain instant oats, depending on how sticky you want the final texture. The oats absorb excess moisture and transform the blend into a moldable dough that clings firmly to hooks or hair rigs without falling apart too soon. Now, roll up your sleeves and dive in with your hands, mixing everything thoroughly until the colors merge into a uniform, pinkish mass and no dry pockets of oats remain visible. The consistency should feel slightly tacky, like soft modeling clay. If it seems too wet, simply sprinkle in a little more oats and knead again. If it crumbles too easily, add a splash of the reserved corn liquid to bring it back together. Within 2 short minutes, the entire batch comes alive as a cohesive bait, ready for immediate use or short-term storage. I always enjoy this hands-on step because the transformation is satisfying and the sweet smell hints at the underwater frenzy to come. Test a small portion by rolling it into a marble-sized ball and dropping it into a glass of water. You will notice how it slowly releases tiny particles while holding its main shape, creating an attractive cloud that mimics natural food sources. This visual and olfactory combination proves deadly for many species and explains why even cautious fish throw caution to the wind and compete aggressively for every morsel. Once perfected, the recipe becomes second nature, allowing you to whip up fresh batches right at the water's edge if needed. The entire process feels rewarding because it relies on creativity rather than cash, turning ordinary kitchen staples into a powerful fishing weapon that levels the playing field for everyone. Understanding exactly why this simple blend triggers such intense feeding responses makes the recipe even more valuable for consistent success on the water. Sweet corn contributes natural sugars and familiar scents that many fish already associate with easy meals, especially in areas where kernels are occasionally used as loose feed. The strawberry gelatin introduces a powerful fruity essence that disperses rapidly through the water, forming a long-lasting scent trail capable of pulling fish in from surprising distances, even in low visibility conditions. This aroma acts like a dinner bell underwater, stimulating curiosity and aggressive competition among nearby schools. Meanwhile, the instant oats serve a dual purpose by binding the mixture into durable balls that stay on the hook through casts and subtle movements, while also generating a gentle, cloudy plume once submerged. This cloud mimics the appearance of disturbed bottom sediment, or dispersing food particles, which instinctively signals safety and abundance to passing fish, encouraging them to investigate and feed without hesitation. Together, the three components create a multisensory attraction, combining taste, scent, and visual cues that overwhelm natural caution and spark immediate, frenzied activity. Fish often rush in groups, swirling around the bait and competing for position, resulting in rapid, multiple hookups that keep the rod bending steadily. The low cost and quick preparation mean you can experiment with slight variations, such as adjusting oat quantity for different water currents or trying alternative gelatin flavors on slow days to see what sparks the strongest reaction. Over repeated outings, the pattern becomes clear. This homemade mix outperforms many commercial options because it relies on pure, instinctive triggers rather than artificial chemicals. Watching the surface erupt with boils and swirls after casting never gets old, and each successful fight reinforces the effectiveness of keeping things simple and affordable. The real magic happens when conditions seem poor, yet the fish still respond with surprising enthusiasm, proving that sometimes the best solutions hide in plain sight within everyday pantry shelves. This approach not only saves money, but restores the pure joy of outsmarting fish through ingenuity and observation, turning every session into an opportunity for discovery and excitement. Applying the finished bait effectively can make the difference between a quiet day and nonstop action on the water. Once the sticky pink mixture is ready, take a small portion and roll it firmly between your palms, forming compact balls about the size of a large marble. For most situations, these balls should hold their shape yet remain soft enough to release scent steadily once submerged. For hook presentation, simply mold a piece directly around a suitable hook, ensuring the point remains slightly exposed for quick penetration during strikes. Alternatively, you can use a hair rig by threading several small balls onto a short length of fine material and attaching it just below the hook. This method allows the bait to flutter naturally and often results in cleaner hook sets. When targeting larger species that feed near the bottom, a bigger, walnut-sized portion works well, while smaller fish respond better to pea-sized pieces on finer tackle. Cast the bait gently into promising areas where fish are likely to patrol, such as near underwater structures or long drop-offs. Then settle in and allow the mixture to do its work. The oats create a slow dissolving cloud that spreads outward, drawing attention from all directions, while the sweet, fruity aroma travels even farther, stimulating immediate investigation. Many times, the first sign of success appears as subtle line twitches, followed by sharp, aggressive pulls as fish begin competing for the bait. Keep the rod tip elevated and maintain light tension so you can detect even the lightest nibbles and strike at the right moment to convert curiosity into solid hookups. A useful technique involves scattering a few extra loose pieces around your main baited spot beforehand. This light chumming builds anticipation and brings more fish into the area, increasing the chances of multiple catches in quick succession. Patience is important because the scent trail needs time to disperse, but once the activity starts, it often escalates rapidly into a true feeding frenzy, with constant bites that keep you busy for hours. Adjust the size and firmness of the balls according to water depth and current strength. Firmer mixtures stay on longer in moving water, while softer ones release attractants faster in still conditions. The simplicity of this approach means you can prepare fresh bait right at the edge if the first batch runs low, simply remix on the spot and continue fishing without interruption. Every successful fight reinforces how a handful of basic ingredients, when used correctly, can outperform complicated setups and expensive lures, turning ordinary sessions into memorable experiences filled with excitement and satisfaction. The real thrill begins the moment the bait hits the water, and the underwater world reacts with surprising intensity. Fish of various sizes suddenly appear from nowhere, swirling around the sinking balls with urgent movements that signal pure excitement. Their natural caution vanishes as the sweet scent and cloudy trail overwhelm their senses, prompting them to dart forward and engulf the mixture without hesitation. What starts as tentative nibbles quickly turns into bold, aggressive takes as more individuals join the commotion, creating a visible frenzy. Visible even from the surface through swirling ripples and occasional splashes. One after another, the rod bends sharply as hook sets connect and the fight commences. With powerful runs and determined headshakes that test your tackle and skill, the beauty of this simple recipe lies in its versatility, working equally well for bottom feeders that vacuum up the bait and midwater species that chase falling particles. Each catch brings a rush of adrenaline, especially when larger specimens crash the party and strip line from the reel in explosive bursts. Landing these fish feels particularly rewarding because the success comes from ingenuity rather than store-bought solutions, proving that thoughtful preparation can outsmart even the wariest creatures. As the session progresses, the action often intensifies, with double hookups becoming common once the scent cloud fully develops and the school commits fully to feeding. Observing the behavior teaches valuable lessons about timing and presentation. Small adjustments to bait size or casting distance can dramatically increase the response rate on slower days. The mixture holds together long enough for repeated casts, yet breaks down gradually to maintain constant attraction without needing frequent rebaiting. This balance keeps the fishing efficient and enjoyable, allowing more time focused on the sport rather than preparation. When the bites finally slow after an intense period, the satisfaction of having triggered such wild activity lingers long after the last fish is released. Many anglers discover that returning to this reliable blend becomes a go-to strategy whenever conditions seem challenging, because it consistently delivers results where other methods fall short. The entire experience transforms fishing from a waiting game into an active, engaging pursuit filled with anticipation and frequent rewards. Sharing these moments with friends, or simply reflecting alone, highlights how a few inexpensive pantry items can unlock unforgettable days filled with constant excitement and successful catches. Reflecting on the journey from initial curiosity to consistent success reveals the true power of keeping things simple and creative in fishing. What began as an experiment with basic kitchen staples evolved into a dependable technique that delivers reliable action across different conditions and target species. The combination of natural sweetness, visual attraction, and binding texture creates a complete package that appeals directly to the instincts of fish, triggering responses that feel almost magical in their intensity. Over time, the routine of mixing the three ingredients became a comforting ritual, performed with confidence, knowing the outcome would likely include bent rods and smiling moments. This approach not only saves significant money compared to commercial alternatives, but also restores a sense of self-reliance and satisfaction that comes from crafting effective solutions with your own hands. Each outing reinforces the lesson that expensive gear and complicated rigs are not always necessary when ingenuity and observation take center stage. The wild reactions witnessed time after time serve as proof that fish respond most strongly to honest, straightforward presentations that mimic natural food sources while adding an irresistible twist. Beyond the practical benefits, the recipe encourages a deeper appreciation for the sport by shifting focus from equipment to understanding and creativity. Future sessions will undoubtedly include this trusted mixture as a cornerstone strategy, ready to be deployed whenever the desire for action arises. The simplicity ensures it remains accessible to beginners and experienced anglers alike, leveling the playing field and spreading enjoyment throughout the fishing community. As memories of frenzied bites and hard-fighting fish accumulate, the value of this discovery grows, reminding everyone that sometimes the best things come from the most unexpected, humble sources. Continuing to refine and share such effective homemade solutions keeps the passion alive and inspires others to explore their own pantry for hidden fishing treasures. In the end, the greatest reward extends beyond the catches themselves, encompassing the joy of discovery, the thrill of success, and the peaceful satisfaction of spending time connected to the rhythms of the water. This straightforward yet powerful method stands as a testament to the idea that less can truly be more when applied with thought and enthusiasm, turning ordinary days into extraordinary adventures filled with endless possibilities on the water.